Every day there's another allegation. We're gonna accuse you of molestation. So everyone knows about the current thing with Kavanaugh, where he had this woman come forward and say that he tried to rape her at a party. But yesterday, there was not one, but two women that came forward. One of which alleging that within a year to 2 years after the one alleged by Dr. Ford, the first accuser, that she was at a party with Kavanaugh and apparently he became intoxicated and pressed his genitalia against her face without her consent. And she said that she was apparently intoxicated at the same time, so she thought people wouldn't believe her story. And right after this statement comes out, Stormy Daniels' lawyer, Michael Avenatti, whichever way you pronounce it, announces that he's representing a woman who basically is said to have what she calls credible information that Kavanaugh and Mark Judge, the person described by the first accuser as being in the room when the alleged rape was said to have occurred, or alleged attempted rape was said to have transpired, that she has proof that Kavanaugh and Judge had some kind of thing where they would go to parties and drug people and try to do some gangbang um, molestation. So right off the bat, I've had to, in a lot of cases, defend my own position on this because it's not the one that I see being taken on by a lot of people that are in the same ideology as myself. And I take this because I think about other people coming out and accusing and how we've just been seeing it on at least a high profile basis way more than not even 2 years ago. So when you have an abundance of something being alleged and stated, you want there to be some level of credibility in what is to be believed and what isn't believed. Now, a lot of defenders of the first woman, for example, Dr. Ford, will say that she had a if she were making it up, she wouldn't have put Mark Judge in there with Kavanaugh because she knows that the two of them could say, "Oh, no, this never happened. We were never there." Um, so that's what they're stating. But it's you get to a point where you watch a lot of these politicians reacting. You have the Republicans who are saying the Democrats are doing a smear campaign to make sure that Kavanaugh doesn't get through after they played historic obstruction to Obama, whatever. Um, and then you have the some politicians who are part of the Senate trying to say, oh well, if these are true, these are very grim and disturbing. But I care little for your statement if it doesn't change the way you vote. If you look at Susan Collins, for example, she's tried to leave open the window of it being something that was fabricated and made up and not actually going on. But the primary issue that I've had with her is that you have a person who literally holds the key to making sure this thing doesn't go through, and I only see her dancing back and forth. She wants to make it seem as if she gave it serious thought in the public, while doing whatever she's told to do by the higher ups and the leadership for part, or rather the other people in her party. Effectively, it's not wanting to appear to have independent thought, so just blindly say, "Oh no, this couldn't have happened." So, like I said, I want proof. If this credible information that Avenatti is saying his client has actually exists, and put it out there. But I don't understand why we can't get like out of these three people, no one reported it. No one, I'm being told that people talked about it, but can we get something that can be proven? And it's a lot harder to get, let's say, a video, for example, um, of this thing because it was so long ago. But there has to be some way of showing that the event occurred, because I don't want to believe that we've regressed so far that the validity of allegations about someone abusing another person have cheapened to the point we just use it to score a couple of political points to make it to where we don't have any kind of actuality in what we allow to think. We just sit here and we go, okay, that person's saying this, bye bye, and then we learn the person afterward was not telling the truth. And this has been the case with many of the accusers of politicians. If you go back and look at Herman Cain, right after all these women came forward and alleged him and he got out of the race, they left. He still gets to be on Fox. He still gets to go around and say that they lied on me. And each passing year, it becomes more credible because if it were truly something that disgusted and disturbed the people who are alleging, this happened to, why didn't they try to pursue it after he stopped trying to achieve a high profile position? That's why when people talk about the theory of, let's say, Kavanaugh, gives up and says, all right, I'm done. If these allegations are not followed up by a court case with these three women, or at least one of them or two, it's going to continue to push the narrative that this is part of a left wing conspiracy to get men that are already attacked as being against women because of their political views into not being able to go anywhere as far as their career is concerned. Um, and it's going to make it to where now, anytime somebody says, in regards to a person in power, oh, they did this to me, you know, such and such time ago, no one's going to believe them because it will have turned these types of claims and charges into just boy who cried wolf in of the 21st century. Boy who cried wolf of the modern era, boy who cried wolf of the 21st century, boy who cried wolf, or woman who cried, snake. And I'm not saying that to make light of it, but that it's going to become that if this continues. If we keep having no proof and excessive amounts of time where just nothing happened. I've heard that with Dr. Ford, there was a 2012 thing where she apparently didn't even say Kavanaugh's name, but there was some kind of confirmation that she passed the lie detector test. And someone said, look, if that's true, that still doesn't confirm it was Kavanaugh. But more importantly, if she's a doctor, theoretically she would know how to pass one of those. That's part of her profession. So it's just those things where you don't want to believe the worst of these people, but because of the argument against them, it's hard not to. And I think we just have to keep an open mind. That's what I've tried to do, and I'll continue to do. So thank you.